reality TV star, people forget that I'm a businesswoman first, that I was always a businesswoman. And a lot of people only know me as a reality TV star.
Don't get into any business that you don't understand from A to Z, because a lot of people try to do that just because of the money, and then at the end of the day, you're not going to success because you don't understand it.
If you get your branding right, your story right, there's always a customer.
It's about the story. It's about being unique and being authentic for who you are. Partner with someone is like, starting a family. You're going to have fun at dinner with them. So you need to be very careful because it could be the best thing or it could be the worst thing.
Some build brands, others become them. Caroline Stanbury is a global entrepreneur, luxury brand architect, and media icon who spent over 2 decades building a business around bold reinvention. From fashion, home and beauty ventures, to the Real Housewives of Dubai and real estate collaborations, she's turned her name into a brand and her voice into a platform. Sergio Carrallo began his career as a Real Madrid soccer player and expanded that discipline into business. With a background in branding, digital strategy, and wellness, he co-leads ventures that span luxury retreats, personal development, and high-performance living. Together, they've built more than a relationship. They've built a brand rooted in partnership, performance, and global ambition. But behind the camera, behind the brand, there's a real strategy. From private investments in personal branding to hospitality ventures and a bold digital presence, Caroline and Sergio are redefining what modern power couples look like. So how do you scale a personal brand into a global business? What does it really take to build and sustain success in the public eye while staying aligned behind the scenes? In this conversation, we explore the business beneath the image and the mindset behind the momentum. This is Ellen's Conversation with Caroline Stanbury and Sergio Carrallo.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for today. You built a strong personal brand and expanded into a global business ventures. Start from gift library and even move to Dubai. And I think it was a bold move. It's not easy to give up everything that you build and then start over somewhere else with different culture, with different everything. And also you expanded into wellness and health industry, even investment in real estate or go to fashion industry and even in hospitality and hotel project. Across all these ventures, what has been the most challenging moment that you had to face and how did you conquer it? How you overcome it?
I think, just starting off, building a brand from scratch when, you're also filming, when you're also building a house, bringing up a family, it's very difficult because we're in so many different spaces. And also, I think being a reality TV star, people forget that I'm a businesswoman first, that I was always a businesswoman. And a lot of people only know me as a reality TV star. So it almost helps you and hinders you at the same time because people expect less of you.
Exactly. And how did you go through all these industries and how did you make a decision across all different industries? And even some of them are saturated, but you make it your own.
Obviously, the business everywhere is saturated in many different places, right? But at the end of the day, you are a unique person. So if you get your branding right, your story right, there's always a customer.
It's about the story. It's about being unique and being authentic for who you are. And I think if you are able to share that with the world, then there is really no competition because you're so unique.
And what we did, I think, is because of our social media presence, we see very clearly what people want from us, right? So I may have 1 million followers on one account, but then if you go to my home account, the engagement there may be just as much or, percentage wise as the main account sometimes, but because people love to see us travel, they love to see the inside of our homes. So I was like, okay, so, obviously people follow me. Home is my number one. So then obviously it makes perfect sense to go into homeware. Then it makes perfect sense to do bedding. Then wellness. People always ask me because I'm, 49 years old and my husband is 30. They're all things that relate to me, and be it fashion never interested me work-wise, just because I don't want to get into sizing, clothing, all of that, I think it's a very complicated place to be. It's very seasonal. These are all things that if you want to buy my bed linen or you want to buy my candles, these can sit around on the shelf for 1, 2, 3 years if the worst happened, right? Nothing changes. They're not seasonal. They're not stagnant. So I feel like, finding products and things that are, that speak to
And
people.
laughs.
Yes, that last, that aren't, faddy, that are, elevate your home. What would you think of if you had a beautiful you see in my house, coral is my color. So like, what can you afford in your home of mine, not you personally,
And what relates to
is,
you, basically.
like maybe you're going to love my beautiful coral candle and you can just put that in the middle. It's a very, inexpensive way to buy into a lifestyle brand, right? Maybe you're going to love my coral sheets. And one thing that we love to do is we always say we manifested all of this. And you'll see on the sheets, they've got grateful, manifest, so we just make everything our own.
100%.
Find a connection field and then go through that path, you mean?
Well,
Right.
it doesn't matter if you have 1 million followers or one. Why is that one person following you? How did she find you and why is she following you?
Yeah,
When you
right.
find out why she's following you, you cater to that.
Exactly. Sergio, as a successful professional soccer player in Madrid, and then you brought that discipline and mindset into business, and as a professional marketer, together you're building empire. How would you describe a powerful relationship and also a partnership in business, especially in business?
I mean, look, it's never easy to find someone who you can work together, obviously. She's laughing at me. But I think, when you really have a clear vision of what your roles are and what you do best, then it's very easy to make it happen, right? Because obviously, because of the age gap that we have, my generation is completely different than her. So I know in my exactly, expertise is more all the technical side, all the marketing side, maybe a lot of creativity behind, and she's much more practical and much more into the point. So then both together we work very well. But nowadays it is amazing how, with social media you can reach to millions of clients within a click. So I think anyone who is involved in any kind of business really should be able to make the most out of it, because it can really change the journey of whatever industry you are, within just seconds with a video. So it's extremely powerful, and I think that's why we work together very well, because I do all that side that she doesn't like to do, and then she focus on much more other avenues, which could be relationships and building, and more focus into the growth.
I'm old school, he's more tech, and it just
Exactly.
works. And I think defining that in relationships and
100%.
and being very clear what your roles are, and you don't tread on each other's toes.
And Caroline always says, at the end of the day, partner with someone is like, starting a family. You're gonna, have lunch, breakfast, lunch, and dinner with them. So you need to be very careful, because it could be the best thing or it could be the worst thing that can happen to you in your life. So we are extremely careful now, I think, finding that those partners into different businesses.
Exactly. Relationship capital is always important. And if you made a bad decision, you ruin everything, an empire that you built. And it's really, really core principle decision that we need to make. Even in business, it is harder. During all ventures that you built, and as a public face, what was the smartest invest that you did, and why you think it was the best one?
I mean, I think, speaking for both of us, we always been looking at real estate for a long time, and we didn't get heavily into it probably 3 years ago, and I think we got in maybe like 10 years ago, earlier, heavily into it, because it is I would say, is the easiest way to build generational wealth. Like, it is, at the end of the day, everybody wants to find that passive income coming to you. And I think real estate can give you that, which you can use it and leverage towards whatever industry you love to do, which it can be your passion.
I think it's been amazing for us. And having had a very big business, having worked with people all my life, it is one that I don't need many partners for. I don't need a lot of staff for, and I'm fully in control of. And the bigger that we get, we now, then we choose partners, but, but we control everything. Everything. And so we do the build, we do the rentals, we do the, and it's so much better because unlike a big company where you have boards to answer to and all of this, you can still retain control of what you're doing.
And people don't understand and don't realize that, how easy the snowball is to create in real estate. You just have to start slowly, and then step by step, and then it just slowly, it becomes bigger and bigger. But the key is not to have that fear of starting.
They're afraid to start.
Yeah, 100%.
They're afraid to start, exactly. And also you mentioned about knowing your business inside out and like take control of all aspects of.
I think good debt and bad debt, right? And people don't understand mortgages
100%.
and things like that, and they fear debt. And there's all types of debt. Some of the richest people in the world, well, all the richest people in the world have debt.
Everybody.
We have a big debt.
Big debt. And debt, there's, as I said, it's not credit card debt, and it's very different. And I think people need to understand that.
Another advice would say, like, don't get into any business that you don't understand from A to C, because a lot of people try to do that just because of the money, and then at the end of the day, you're not going to success because you don't understand it.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sharing all this insight, and I appreciate your time. It's amazing, and look forward to hear about all your experience that you share. Thank you so much.
Take care.